Hello, how are you tonight? I tried not to watch the presidential debate last night, and I didn't tune in until probably 10 or 12 minutes after it started. And I watched pretty much to the end, or very close to the end. I didn't actually see probably the last minute or two, but it was eye-opening, and I didn't sleep well last night, and I've been feeling low today, low energy. And so I started, I did some meditating, and I started glancing over a few headlines on YouTube and a few headlines on Facebook, and realized that I have to really exit myself from the contention and continue to try my best to view this whole division as something that is part of the ascension process. I watched a video by Lori Ladd, which was very inspiring, and she actually stated some of my true opinions as opposed to my egoic opinions. We all get caught up. If we didn't have an ego, we wouldn't be able to keep our feet on the ground. So I'm not slamming ego whatsoever, whether it's in myself or someone else. My ego wanted to respond with what was right and what was wrong, and who was genuine and who was false, and who was acting out and who was behaving, and be in that right, wrong, good, bad sort of dynamic that we as human selves are accustomed to and familiar with and comfortable with. And it's really okay to do that, by the way. It's really okay to have opinions. It's really okay to feel things. It's okay to have visceral reactions to things that are in our present now moment. I would just like to talk about the roles of people like Donald Trump and Joe Biden and other leaders around the world and other situations around the world that are showing us divisiveness, that are showing us seediness, that are showing us lack of ethics, that are showing us violence, that are showing us things that are difficult and also ugly to many of us. I am absolutely not here to talk about who I think is right or wrong. You probably already know that there really is no good situation going on politically right now. It's all difficult, it's all challenging, and the only thing that I can stand by 100% without equivocation is that I am pro-peace. Anything that we can do as a human race to promote peace is what I can stand by wholeheartedly. When I see lack of peace, when I see divisiveness and hatred and bigotry and all that kind of stuff, I'm doing my best to stand back from it a little bit emotionally, although I do get sucked in sometimes, because it's really hard not to. It's hard not to face our now moment on this timeline, on this third dimensional timeline. It's really hard not to. And as humans, we're not expected actually to do that all the time. But I'd like to give a shot of hope and a bit of an explanation from a sort of metaphysical standpoint or an ascension standpoint, a fifth dimensional spiritual standpoint of what's just actually going on here. I'd like to give a shot of hope. I would like people to kind of learn how to see through the 3D part and into the grander picture, the bigger picture, the eternal, more of an eternal perspective, or a higher perspective, a higher vibrational perspective, because I have that too. In addition to having my own feelings and my own thoughts and my own reactions, and I do react. There's no doubt about it. I'm not proud of it. I wish I was all zen all the time, but I'm not, and that's okay. It's really okay. We're entitled as human beings to have a completely human experience, and that's all part of it. I don't condemn myself when I have reactions. I try to notice, and I go, "Ooh, there's a tender spot," or "oh, there's something that's worth exploring," or "oh, that's a trigger and that's bringing up a lot of feelings inside of me, and maybe I just really need to cry. Maybe I just need to get rid of, release and let go, or maybe I need to talk about it, maybe I need to cry, whatever I need. Maybe I need to sleep. I took a 2-hour nap today. I was done. I was cooked. In all of our lives right now, we can be seeing things in every area of our life. We can be seeing difficulties and challenges and divisiveness and disagreements and differing points of view everywhere. We see it about in the school, like the school situation with children. There are people that don't want the schools to open, and there are people that want the schools to be wide open, and then there are people that want some combination of the hybrid model of virtual and homeschooling. And that's one. My heart goes out to all of you. I don't even have an opinion because it's too complicated. I don't even think it's. I don't even think I don't even know what to think about that particular issue. But my heart is involved with that issue because it involves our children. So if we look at that, if we look at climate change, if we look at terrorism, if we look at the national economy, local economy, national economy, world economy, there's a whole lot of stuff we could have opinions about. If we look at other national leaders in other countries, not just our own, that appear to have a very nationalistic, right-leaning sort of approach, and there certainly are countries that are still dictatorships and have authoritarian leaders. So basically, I'm going to switch gears now and start to talk about what's going on energetically. So we see all this stuff with our eyes, and we hear all this stuff with our ears, and we feel it, and we feel it, and we have reactions, and we have responses, and we're entitled to all of that. We're humans. Those of us that are on an ascension path or a personal spiritual self-growth path, we know if we sit in that for too long, we become ill. And we can also become ill as a response to too many years of this kind of tension and anxiety and fear sitting in our bodies. So there are a lot of people coming down with things right now. People are having all kinds of physical responses to this grand shift that we're in. And if we can also look at illness in the same category as we look at all these other grand topics, we manifest what's going on around us through our bodies, because the energy of what's going on around us enters our bodies through the media, through discussions with people, with family and friends. Sometimes empaths especially just suck it all in before they even know they've sucked it in, and they don't even know how they sucked it in, and they don't even need a reason. It's just because they're empaths, they take all this stuff in, and it has to go somewhere. So if we take stuff in without being in a sort of unconscious way, or we just take the default mode and go with the consensus, or we go with public opinion, or we go with the idea that everything is blue or red, and everything is right or wrong, everything is left or right, everything is fascist or socialist. I mean, it just goes on and on, the way the polarity, the polarized ways that people view this planet. It's okay. Whatever you believe, it's okay. I'm not here to talk you into or out of anything whatsoever, because everybody has a right to their own individual viewpoints and their own reactions and their own feelings, and there is no right and wrong. In my opinion, there's no real right and wrong. Now, in my body, in my 3D self, yeah, I see right and wrong, and I have opinions about things, and I have leanings toward certain schools of thought and leanings against other schools of thought. I'm trying to transcend that in my lifetime, in my life experience right now. And because I am trying to do that, I'd like to share that, a little bit of that with you. Right now, every single structure that has been built and created and manipulated and magnified over the last 1,000 years, 2,000 years, I don't even know how long, is being dismantled. The old earth is breaking down, and we are in the process of witnessing the breakdown of structures that no longer serve the light. As much as we appear to be human, in my opinion, the human part of us, the physical, sensory, temporal, changeable part of us, is a very small part of who we are. The grander part of who we are is part of all that is. We are expanding all that is, or we are retracting from all that is in any given moment. So we're in alignment, or we're not in alignment. And I'm here to say that if you don't feel good about, I'm going to use the debate as an example. The debate made you nuts. Maybe you watched it and you were angry and wound up and worried and nervous and scared and whatever. That's okay. You're entitled to that. It was a contentious and difficult thing to witness. If you watch the debate more firmly entrenched in your own opinion than ever and ready to move forward with your, good for you. If you are in alignment with your own true self and you're following your own true beliefs and you're listening to your inner guidance to the best of your ability, good for you. Good for you. If you're at peace with how you feel, if you're at peace with your opinions, I applaud you. I would just like us all as a collective to start to open up our perspective. So, how do Biden and Trump represent to us energetically? Now, as I said before, old structures are crumbling, the new earth is coming in, people are expanding their hearts, are expanding their souls, are expanding their minds. There are so many awakened people on the planet, so many light-filled people on the planet that are really, this is a tough time for everybody. Even the most enlightened of humans are experiencing ups and downs. There's the law of polarity. We don't get away from it. It's like the law of gravity. If I pick up an apple, it's going to fall to the ground. Well, it is inevitable as a human being in a body, as part of our soul is in the body, it's inevitable that we're going to have ups and downs, and it's inevitable that we're going to fall into traps and be manipulated or triggered back into our egos. It's going to happen. But the more time we spend looking at it from a grander perspective, the happier we can potentially be. And so how do we see Biden and Trump's debate from a larger perspective? Well, I'm going to give an example of one way of looking at it that might be helpful. Trump and Biden represent and energetically project different facets of paradigms that we have been entrenched in for God knows how long, on one level or another, whether it was in the government or in other institutions and structures of our country. They represent a particular point of view. They represent, and in my opinion, they're two old guys. God bless them. I'm getting there myself. Not an insult, I'm just saying they've been on the planet a long time. So they represent a lot of old structures and old opinions and old paradigms that were considered maybe even progressive when they were young. I mean, comparatively speaking, when Biden was a child, I'm sure things were much more restrictive than he represents today. And God knows President Trump was brought up in a family of dysfunction and difficulty and a certain set of beliefs that may or may not have had a huge impact on who he became. he came from a man that was a self-made millionaire, and there was a lot of divisiveness within his family. So he was raised in a divisive way. I don't know how Joe Biden was raised, but I do know that he represents, you know, some old ways of thinking, as well as some new ways of thinking. In my opinion, I think he's got a little bit more range in terms of his opinions. However, so there's this dynamic, this energetic dynamic, and it looks like this. It looks like butting heads, and it looks like right and wrong, and a battle to the finish. But if we can see through that, if we can raise ourselves up through meditation or just through broadening our thought, we can see that this is a big example, a beautiful example of what's going past us already. As a race, we've already risen beyond that type of interaction, that type of behavior, those types of contentious energies. Even if we're not aware of it in our physical body at any given time, we're already in the fifth dimension. There's a part of us, and Lori Ladd gave a really great metaphor. She said it's like the turtle has already turned in another direction, but it takes the turtle a long time to get the body in the same, all in the same, pointing in the same direction. So, okay, the head of the turtle has all the answers and knows the right direction to walk in, but man, it takes him a long time to move his head, and then he's going to move one foot, and then he starts to carry his heavy shell, and he tries to move another foot. So even though the turtle knows what direction to go in, the rest of the body takes a while to get going in that direction. So this is kind of how we are. We know that we're better than what is apparent sometimes. We know that we're bigger, and we know that we're more loving and more empathic than what we see at times as a human race. And if we can just see past this division and this contentiousness and thank them for showing us what is in process, which is the destruction and the dissolution of things, belief systems, attitudes, structures that we no longer need, that we no longer want. In fact, need to move away from our now reality, our third dimensional reality, to make more space for new ideas to come in, and for new people to be our leaders, and for new ideas to flow, and for things to change. So we're witnessing crumbling right now, and the debate is all about the crumbling of old structures. And we have to wish those gentlemen both well, because they are sacrificing for what they believe in, and they are also sacrificing for the betterment of the human species, even though it doesn't appear to be that way. It is. They're just playing out on a stage examples of what's really going on in this whole wide world, which is saying goodbye, moving on, releasing, letting go, things falling apart, things that we don't know, that human race doesn't really want. Like the majority of people do not want contention and violence and misogyny and sexism and homophobia and all that. We don't. Our souls are in resonance with peace for the most part. We're not a warlike, we're not all, the majority of us are not warlike, and we don't like hate, and we don't want to see this kind of lack of peace, let's call it. We don't want to see that, and that's because we know we're already past it. So Abraham Hicks always says, if the more you focus on what is, the harder it is to be like what is in our face right this minute, the harder it is to see what's coming. So I'm going to entreat all of you to visualize for yourself inner peace, and visualize for your family well-being and visualize for your community, people working together harmoniously, and visualize for this country what it really is at heart and what it will even appear to be in the physical at some point, because the turtle has already turned. We're already in another reality. It's just the body of us are still trying to get there. The density of the body is still moving, even though the spirit is already there. So in ultimate reality, we already have peace. In ultimate reality, in the energetic realms, we are already in resonance with harmony. We are already in resonance with justice. We are already in resonance with fairness and goodness and sensitivity and love and all good things. That is the larger part of who we are. That is the larger part of who we are. So what do we do from here? How do we handle this ugliness? I've said this before and I'll say it again. Energy flows where attention goes. So watch what you're paying attention to. And when you're watching what you're paying attention to, and you have reactions and feelings on the inside, feel them, express them, own them, take responsibility for them, love them, even when they're ugly, love them, and then let them go to the best of your ability. And if you need help with letting go, which is the hard part, that's the hard part, you know, that's the hard part. That's the dense part. That's the part of the human. There's a dynamic between the ego and the superego, or the spirit, or the energy system, or the divine part, the divine nature of each one of us, the unified field that we all belong to. We all belong to the same field of consciousness. We all belong to the same energy flow that is grand and big and full of love. So when we're not experiencing that, that's because we're supposed to experience whatever we experience in life, overcome it, and have the joy of the overcoming. And all of us have many, many opportunities to experience the joy of overcoming. So let's overcome this. Let's overcome what we saw at the debate. Let's get past it. Let's see through it. Let's recognize it for what it is, which is just a symptom of the grand shift. It's a symptom of what's going bye-bye. So we can look at this whole presidential election and this debate and all the contention around it and all the weird energy and all the ugly words and just go, this is cool. We don't have to react. We can if we want to, and you're entitled. Everyone's entitled to feel whatever they feel. But if you could have a moment of clarity when you're watching something and you're getting riled up, if you could just say to yourself, this is what's going away. This is what is breaking down right now. We need this to break down in order to make space and have energy flowing in the direction that we really want to. Hold a visualization of peace for yourself first, because if you don't have the peace, you cannot really ripple peace out as effectively, although your highest self always does. The part of you that's connected to the unified field, to source, to creator energies, is always in touch with love and peace and kindness and justice and fairness and all that kind of stuff. But in the moment, feel what you got to feel and say what you got to say and have the opinions you have to have and express those opinions and own it. And then say, okay, do I like how I feel right now? Does this feel harmonious? Does this feel good for me? Does this feel like part of the direction I want to move in? And if it feels good, own it, keep it, save it. You know, you don't have to change anything you don't want to. We all have free will. And you are not ever, ever judged by the level of energy which we call creator or the unified field or all that is, or whatever we call that, God. We're not being judged. We judge ourselves. And I'm not even asking you to judge yourself. That's not even a good idea either. All I'm saying is that if we watch our vibration, we watch our alignment, There is no good and bad. There is only alignment and lack of alignment. If we take emotions completely out of the picture, if we draw the emotions out, that's a separate thing, and that's something we do have to deal with. I'm not saying ignore them. I'm saying if we just take a minute and say, okay, behind the emotions, what do I really want? Do I want to witness a contention? Do I believe in hatred? Do I believe in violence? Do I want to propagate that? Do I want to ripple that out into the universe or not? Now, there are people who feel, and they have a right, that violence must be met with violence and that's the only solution. That is not my opinion, but who am I? I'm not God, and I don't have a right to tell anybody else how to feel or what to believe or what to think is right or wrong. I don't have a right to an opinion about what anyone else feels and thinks, but I do have a right to my own. And my own opinion is I want peace. I want inner peace within me, and I want to visualize in meditation or while I'm daydreaming or while I'm staring out at the clouds or while I'm laying on the grass. Right now in the Northeast, there's not a lot of grass, but when I'm resting comfortably somewhere and I'm going to let my mind wander, I'm listening to music and my mind wanders, I'm going to take a minute or two here and there, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, however much time I feel like. I want to visualize this nation in harmony, in peace, moving forward in a lovely direction, moving forward so that everyone has everything they need and everyone is pleased with what's going on. I'm going to visualize harmony, unity, justice. I'm going to visualize everyone having everything that they need, because in ultimate reality, when we get beyond the third dimensional perspective, that is what is. That is the larger truth, the ultimate truth of being, in my opinion. Do I have to get upset about the contentiousness in the politics right now? I don't have to. I can make a choice. I can decide to get to neutral with that. Or I can decide that my anger fuels me and I'm one of those people that needs to do something. I need to take action. I want to let that anger fuel me into being an activist or fuel me into working as a polling person, or I'm going to write a blog and try to let everybody know, what my opinion is in case other people, resonate to that. Anger can really serve us, especially when we direct it in a positive. If we have anger and we use that anger to move us forward, and we feel good about that, and we feel like we're doing what we're supposed to do, good. Let it go. Do it. If we're using anger to deliberately hurt someone else, well, if that, I can't imagine that feels good to anyone, but maybe it does. Who am I to judge? Visualize us already way past Trump and Biden and 2020 and into what's really happening, which is old stuff leaving, new stuff coming in, creating a new earth where all is well, or at least getting better. We may not see all is well in our lifetimes, maybe not, but that's where we're headed. So let's all see the truth right now. Let's see the truth right now, that all is well. All is well. You can break a bone and know in that moment that there's a lesson. And if you allow yourself to listen to your body and listen to your soul, you're going to learn what that lesson is. And the next time you have an experience, you might be able to make a different choice and maybe not do that thing that broke the bone in the first place. So let's not break any more things with contention and arguments and judgments. Let's try to unify our own energy and center our own selves and look past all that into the ultimate reality. And thank all the contentiousness that's going on right now, because that's just systems crumbling. It's like a cement building just wearing away and falling down. That's all. Old stuff is dying, thank God, and new stuff is moving in. So let's have a hopeful attitude about the future, because it's all good. It's all good right now if we tune into it. And it's all good no matter what. And you're all good no matter what. No matter what you're thinking, no matter what you're feeling, it's all right. If it resonates as true for you, you're on the right path. If it feels peaceful to you, you're you're in the right direction. Listening to how we feel, listening to what resonates and what doesn't, listening to what feels like truth and what does not feel like truth, and taking a good hard look at who we are and who we want to be is what this whole experience is about being on this planet right now. That's what it's all about, is for us to make choices and decisions that are going to expand ourselves and help us examine what we want to keep and what we want to let go of. And that plays out in the microcosm of the cells and of the structures of the physical body, the structures and the energy of the emotional body, in the aura. You know, we have stuff going on in our auras. Sometimes it needs a little tune up or a little cleaning or a little releasing or whatever. Those of us that are aware of energy, we know what that feels like when our auras are a little out of whack. And it extends outward until we can visualize and see what's going on around the planet and feel it. And those of us who are really blessed, and I feel like I am one of those, that can look past the density, look past the polarity, look past what appears to be ugly and scary and awful, and see the truth, the ultimate truth, which is all is well right now. The turtle has turned, and his little body is coming with him really slowly. There's a lot of hope for humanity. The turtle's going to turn all the way around, and we're going to see a whole new side of humanity. We already see it if we look for it. If we believe in the goodness of humanity, we're going to see the goodness in humanity. If we're looking for the goodness and beauty in the earth, we're going to find it. So energy goes where attention flows. Watch where you put your attention, and pay attention to your own inner being, and give yourself a break, and try not to judge yourself and try not to judge others, because that just feels better. Just do the thing that feels better. It feels more like alignment. I hope this inspired a little bit of hope in you. And if you find my ideas not to be resonant with yours, that's okay. I love you anyway. Everyone has a right to live the life the way they see fit. I agree that there is no right and wrong, and I will not judge, and I know that we are not being judged. Ever, at all, not now, not ever. We are not being judged by anyone but ourselves. So there is no judgment, and the future is rosy. The current situation is challenging, but we can get to see the rosy if we look for the rosy. So go look for the rosy. Anyway, I hope you like and subscribe, and I really appreciate you watching this video. I certainly enjoy doing them. I send you light and love and blessings. And I'd like to make a little announcement. I'm going to be doing a, I don't know, 2 or 3 part series on extreme empaths. That's going to come in the next week or so, at least the first installment. I have 3 or 4 categories that I really want to talk about, because the empaths are feeling so much right now. God bless you all. You're transmuting all kinds of energy, and you're feeling all kinds of stuff, and you're like taking in energy and figuring out how to let it go, and taking in energy and transmuting it, and taking in energy and trying to understand, why am I feeling this way and what's going on. So I bless all you empaths. I am one as well. So I'm an ultra empath, and I want to do a little series for the extreme empaths, just to give you a little picture, quick snapshot of what that's going to look like. I don't know if it's going to be the first or the second, but one of the extreme empath classes or videos that I'll be doing will be on raging empaths. There's a lot of raging empaths out there right now, and I would love to be able to talk about that and to give you raging empaths some help. Or if you happen to know one or live with one, give you some ideas about how to handle things from an energetic, spiritual point of view. So if you like this video, like and subscribe and leave a comment. And I appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you really soon. Much love. Namaste.